Back to the second segment of the Dynamic Wall 2.0 video tutorial. In the last session, we talked about accessing Dynamic Wall and creating a new account. Now that we have our account, we can start by logging in over here in the left-hand panel. I'll log in with my JSmith account I created last time. And click on login. Once we're logged in, you see a welcome screen, and on the left-hand side, you see some control options we have. First is create content. We can create pages that we can share with other people. Sometimes this can be useful. Below that is your account information. You can modify the account information that you originally set up. I'm not going to go into detail with that. And then below that you can log out. Now there's another section called Dynamic Wall, and this is where we're going to be discussing today. The first one is wall management, and that's where you can create and manage walls. And below that is searching projects, and again I won't be discussing that today either. So if you click on wall management, it'll load a page, and right underneath managing existing projects you will see a table. And right now the table's empty because I don't have any currently active projects. But if I did, in a moment you'll see what it looks like. So to create a new project, we click on Create New Project, and that'll load a form right below. There's 4 fields to creating a project. The first is the project name. That's just an organizational structure for you to use to keep your projects, knowing which projects are used for what. The grade level and the subject, as I mentioned when we created it, are filled in by default as our default grade level and subject. In this case, I'm going to discuss microorganisms, and I'm going to change the topic to science and the grade level to 10. Under the description, this description field can be as long as you'd like. It's just to give you an idea of what you're using this project for. And we use this project for high resolution images of microorganisms. And all of these fields are searchable, which we'll discuss later when we talk about searching projects. So please keep them appropriate. They're available for everybody to see. Additional options. If you would like to, you can click on additional options. And oftentimes this is what you want to do. When you create a new project, you want to create a wall immediately following. So if you click additional options, you can click on create a new wall now. So that'll create your project and a wall. So to create a wall, it asks us for a display session name. The name is what the students will see and you will see under your list of walls for a particular project. So this could be whatever the topic is for the day. And this one's going to be bacteria. I'm going to talk about bacteria. And the teacher control password. This is the password you use to actually control the wall, to have mouse and keyboard input, and to be able to actually take control of the wall. This may be something you want to share with students. It may not be something you want to share with students. So it depends on the actual use of the wall for that particular day. So I'm not going to share it with students, so I'm not going to tell you what I'm putting in. The student session password. This password is used for the students to gain access to the display wall. That's for them to be able to view it, and we'll show you that page in a moment. So that puts something that the students can know. So I'll let you know I use test. Session timeout is to 120 minutes. It's 2 hours. We have a maximum timeout of 1,440 minutes. If you think you're going to use this wall for one class period, and the class period is 50 minutes long, it's perfectly fine to put in 50 minutes or 60 minutes. And what will happen is at the end of in that time, your session will time out, and any information you had open that wasn't saved will be closed, and your wall will be taken down. And that's automatic. So down below we have dimensions of a wall. The first one is the width. That's the number of laptops you want to go wide with your wall. And let's assume we have 16 students in the class, so I'm going to make a 4 wide wall and then the height, 4 laptops. So we have a 4 by 4 wall. Below here is the resolution and width for each individual laptop. So 1020 is the default for the iBook laptops, and we will be updating that with the new MacBook Pros. But 1020 is the default right now, and 700 is the default height for the iBooks. And below that is the screen border. If you're using the wired shelves that we've handed out to all the teachers, we've already pre-calculated that the width in pixels is 80 pixels between each computer. So this is the width in which, if you want to have the bezel of the monitor look like a window pane, so that the adjacent pixel on the right hand side of a monitor is not adjacent to the pixel on the left hand side of the monitor. If you want it to be adjacent, which I'm going to do in this case, you can set these equal to 0. So I'm going to set both of those equal to 0. And then I'm going to click create the project. Now my project was created, and so was a wall. And you can see here there's a drop down list of walls, and bacteria is the first wall. And my description showed up, grade level, the project name, and the time it was created. So I'm going to start by showing how to access the wall that you've just created. So as the teacher, you can click on VNC display bacteria either up here or down here, and I'll click it down here. And this will bring you to the wall session. Now the session code is what the students will use on the home page to gain access to this session, along with the student password that you set up. I'm not going to go through that at the moment. That'll be in the future video tutorials. But as you can see, there's icons, and it's also oriented in such that it's exactly how it would be sitting on your shelf. It's a 4x4 wall. And so when the students put up their laptops, they can click on whichever laptop corresponds to theirs. So I'll show you an example of what a student would do by clicking on this laptop. If we give it a moment, it should load. And it's loading, and it's connecting. And there we go. So the student who clicks on the upper left-hand corner would see, in this case, the file sitting on the desktop, which is the home and the slideshow folders. So I'm not going to show any more with that. We can disconnect. Now, disconnecting from this does not end your session. This will just disconnect and close this window. So connect from that and close this window. As a teacher, these icons down here at the bottom are what are most important to you. There's a couple of options. The full screen option will allow you to see the window at full resolution. That's going to probably require that you scroll around to be able to gain access to things. But that's useful if you're trying to read anything that may have popped up in a small font that you can't see on the scaled version. But I'll show you the scaled version first. If I click on the scaled version, and it loads up, it's going to ask us for a password. So this is the password you created for the teacher control password. So I typed in the password. Here you go. We can see the entire desktop. So those two folders at the top, home and slideshow, were the ones we saw earlier by displaying that upper left-hand corner laptop. So down at the bottom, there is a few applications which you can run, and I'm not going to discuss any of these applications at the moment either. Those will be discussed in a following video tutorial. So I can click disconnect on that and close that. This really is to a project and a wall. In the next session, we'll discuss managing these projects and managing the walls, and we'll see.